I was a top 1% earner at 19, shredded, and yet I still got zero women. The question is why? What was I doing wrong here? And is there absolutely no benefit to having money, to having a good physique? These are all questions you might be asking yourself right now. And I think we need to go down memory lane to see where this all began. So, growing up, I had pretty low self-esteem and low social confidence. I was kind of a video game nerd, wasn't a popular kid in school at all, and so I didn't have a ton of friends to hang out with. And around this time, I was searching for answers about how I could become more attractive and how I could date the women that I wanted to date. You know, the girls that all the popular kids were dating at the time. And so through social conditioning, I started to form some beliefs about dating and how I could get these women. Just like anybody else who's socially conditioned and learns things from their country, from the world. And so I started seeing movies like Scarface, where Al Pacino is like, in this country, you gotta make the money first. Then, when you get the money, you get the power. And then, when you get the power, then you get the women. So this is all over media at the time and right now, currently. And then I was also into rap music. So I see all these rap music videos where I see, these barely clothed women and they're hanging out with guys who are bragging about being rich. You know, they have nice watches, they have nice diamond chains. And so I'm sort of starting to connect the dots here. And I believe that this is the way for me to get women. And so I extrapolated the idea that money and muscles must equal girls. That's just how it has to work based off of everything I'm seeing in the world. And the problem is that I took it to the autistic extreme that literally nothing else mattered. And I thought that I could bypass having to actually develop myself socially, and I could just bypass that with external things like money and having a good physique. And it's sort of like the joke about how guys with a massive lifted truck are compensating for a small penis. So I was trying to compensate for these things with money and having a good physique. And so that's what I did. That was my goal. I had two goals: hit the gym and make a ton of money. And so it got to the point where I was making great money for my age. I was in the top 1% for my age, actually, which isn't that hard at 19, but if you're a 19-year-old making that type of money, you're very happy. And I was blessed to have that. I had a great physique, and yet I didn't have that automatic dating success that I thought just came along with all these things. I didn't talk to a girl and she automatically starts taking off her clothes and has that attraction for me naturally. That's what I actually thought would happen. And so it turns out when I got to that stage, I was actually still terrible with women, almost like I was back in middle school. Basically, nothing had changed. I might have even got worse than when I was in middle school. And so at that point, I was kind of confused. And that's when I decided to work with a dating coach, thank God. And back then, I learned some valuable lessons about why I was failing with women, although I had these things that were sort of indicators of what they would call high value. And so I'm gonna share with you guys today the things that I learned that I was still doing wrong and how I was able to overcome these things. So the first thing that I was really doing wrong was that I would brag about my financial success with women. I remember saying this on a first date when I tell a girl, I actually told a girl how much money I was making on a first date. And so, as you could probably imagine from this, it made me look insecure to women, and immediately they lost attraction. So, the lesson that I learned here is that I learned to stop qualifying myself to women. Because when I was bragging and when I was qualifying myself to women, I was showing the girl that I felt like I needed to prove myself to her and that I was seeking her validation. It's almost like a child would draw something with crayons, like a terrible picture, and then they would run up to their parents and be like, "Mommy, Daddy, do you love this picture?" That was me. And I thought I could do that with bragging to women. I just didn't know at the time. I was inexperienced. And so, if you want a girl to follow you, you have to be the buyer. You're not the seller. You're not selling yourself to the girl. And so, what I actually started to do was evaluating the girl. Does she have the qualities that I need? Is she the type of person that's actually worthy enough to be with me? And if you want a girl to follow you, this is just what you have to do, is to sort of be in that upper hand. You have to believe that you're intrinsically valuable without any reason required or the need to justify yourself. You don't have to say that you went to a certain college. You don't have to say you drive a certain car because all these things are external. And I'm not basing my value on the current things that I have. The second thing that happened was I was boring and logical with women. So throughout this time in my life, I took myself way too seriously because I believed that I was in grind mode. So you might know that feeling when you're working really hard, you're hitting the gym constantly, and you're just in that mode where you're trying to get to the next level. And I forgot how to have fun with women. And as a result, when I talked to women, there was never much of a spark. I wasn't having any sort of fun. I wasn't actually demonstrating my personality or expressing myself. And so the lesson that I learned here is that women want to experience you emotionally. They don't just want to learn all the facts about your life. They want to actually see who you are. And when I tell a girl that I drive this car, or I have two siblings, or I have this or that, all of that is just logical facts. The girl's not creating an emotional bond with you because she's not having an experience. She's just learning about you. So you're not going to create a fun vibe or any sort of sexually charged energy when you're only exchanging facts with the girl, asking the girl about her life, and telling the girl about your life. And so nowadays, when I talk to women, I'm amusing myself. I'm doing what I enjoy to do. I'm having fun in that moment. And I'm also creating that man to woman connection with flirting. So I'm teasing and challenging the girl. If she's a little tall, I'm gonna call her tall. I'm gonna challenge her for, having an adorable smile maybe. There's many ways to tease women. Another thing I might do is a hypothetical situation, like let's say I'm walking around a pond with a girl. I'll be like, what would you do right now if I just pushed you into this pond and I ran away? What would you do? So here I'm just enjoying myself. I'm having fun, and I'm just saying ridiculous things sometimes that don't make any sort of sense. And I really had to learn how to laugh and how to smile again because I was at a point where I was working, maybe 60 hours a week, then just hitting the gym, and it's all just serious, just work, no laughing, no smiling. And I forgot how to actually laugh. Number three, the thing that I was doing wrong was that I was so focused on the grind and on getting to the next level that I spent very little time meeting women. So think about that. If I want to date women, I could have all the money in the world. I could have the best physique in the world, but if I'm not actually meeting women, it doesn't matter. So in this circumstance, I had very few prospects. I had few opportunities to actually talk to women, and then my confidence wasn't growing. There's just no way you can grow your confidence without actually having those reference experiences. So the lesson that I learned is I actually need to invest time and effort if I wanted to meet women and grow my confidence. Because I really did not want to be that old guy who is awkward, who's terrible with women, because he procrastinated and he said, okay, once I get to this net worth, once I hit X goal, that's when I'm going to start talking to women. And when guys, so many guys do this, they make this mistake. And when they reach that point, they realize, okay, I'm not confident with women automatically because I have a nice car. And with all of that being said, do I think it's a waste of time to make money and to build your physique? Obviously not. There's many benefits to doing this. I mean, with more money, that might come a nicer lifestyle. With a better physique, you're just gonna be more physically attractive. You're probably gonna have higher self-esteem even. But do guys massively overplay the effect that these things have on their success with women? Absolutely. And that's exactly what I did in the past. And we've seen this. There's many rich guys who cannot get women to save their life. There's many jacked guys who are awkward with girls. And that's a lot of the reason why guys will go into the gym, is because they're awkward with women. And it can boost their self-esteem, but it doesn't give them any sort of edge. It doesn't really give them those social skills that makes them smooth with women. So it's not like a trump card to have a six-pack or six figures if you can't talk to women. As much as I wished it was that easy. So what we've come to learn is that developing your confidence, your social skills, and your understanding of male to female dynamics, these are the biggest impact items that you can focus on to get better dating results. I mean, other than if you're obese or you're homeless, then working on your social skills might not have a huge impact, and you might just want to go, get off of drugs and get a job. But maybe even so in that case, confidence might be the biggest point of leverage, honestly. And if you're interested in working with me personally and you want to transform your dating life and your social confidence, just go ahead and click that link in the description of this video. I would absolutely love to help you. It's my passion to do so. But that's all I have for this video, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.